Hey guys, VaulSC here. Thanks for checking out another bat rep. We're going to be talking about a game between the Morad Aggression Force and the brand new Varuna sectorial of Pan-Oceania, which just came out in the recent book. By now, a lot of you guys have watched my general review of my general reaction to the third offensive, rules and profiles and so on. And one thing which was a little bit absent from that talk was the discussion of this new rule called tactical awareness. And I know a few of you guys called me out on that, sort of not really talking about that as a big change to Morats and Soyats, and to the Zuyongs, a big feature of the Invincible Army being able to have that tactical awareness thing. Now, you got to appreciate that when I did that video and discussed the whole third offensive book, it was fresh, it was new, and there was still a lot of errors and problems in it. That same day, like after I was uploading the video, Corvus Belli on their infiNity Facebook page posted this little image which showed a correction, because when I read the PDF as it first came out with the new rules, there was a mistake there, and that copy-pasted the NCO rules under tactical awareness or something like that. Anyway, what it actually is a free irregular order that model can have. So this model can spend all of the regular orders as normal, and they can spend this additional irregular order on themselves, just like a data tracker can in some of those special missions. But quite importantly, if that model belongs to a fire team, that irregular order can be spent on the fire team as a whole, giving that fire team an extra order above and beyond the pool. Now, there was a bit of a rules sort of thread on the forums and on Facebook, and some people were unclear about whether the fire team leader needed to be the model spending that order from the outset, like before it gets spent. And I believe that is the case, and I hope that is the case, otherwise this rule would be a little bit too much. But the idea is that what you can achieve is you can either have, okay, there's just that one model by itself and it gets an extra order, or, and this is my preference, you build a list around a pain train link team with, heavy infantry models in it, and you have one or more, maybe even several, maybe even 4 or 5 models with tactical awareness. And the idea is that you alternate between spending regular, green orders from your group and tactical awareness orders. So in the bat rep we're about to have a look at, I'm going to be playing a Morat Suryat based list in which we're going to be testing that out. My intuitive gut feeling is that this rule is a bit too much in infiNity. I think it's a bit too powerful. I do not think that at the highest level of the game, like between players who really know what they're doing, that this makes Morats and Invincible Army stronger than the strongest factions out there, Toha, Vanilla Nohads, Vanilla Hakislam, factions like that. But the problem with it is that it's going to make some of these games even more of a one-sided beatdown than they used to be. Like, even before this rule, I believe strongly that the Morat Suryat Pain Train could really just crush people and cause a rather unenjoyable game for the opponent. You guys have seen those bat reps on my channel. Same with, Joan of Arc and her link team going out and crushing them with 10 or 11 orders is pretty ball-busting. And now you can do it with maybe 14, 15 orders, which I find really, really crazy. So, I mean, again, these link teams, if your opponent has a way of shutting you down, it doesn't matter how many orders you have. If they've come to the party with a really good assault hacker on top of a building, even with deflectors, you're not going to stop yourself from, running into trouble. Hidden deployment missile launchers are still going to wreck you, but there are going to be a lot of games where it's just like, wow, you had 14 orders to spend and you just completely totaled them. So I don't really agree with this rule being in the game set at the moment. But if everybody else disagrees with me and thinks that it's fine, well, fine. I'm going to use it. I'm going to be playing a lot of pain train lists, and you guys are going to be seeing that in my bat reps for sure. So we're going to play a game of acquisition. I'm going to try and take first turn. This table obviously looks a bit longer than it is because we've draped a 6x4 mat over a 4x4 area. So just note that the deployment zones are cut off at this specific edge here, right? So it's still a 4x4 table. Before we jump into that, as promised, I'm always going to show you these lists from now on. So let's just have a look at my Kornak list. Kornak Lieutenant, of course. 3 Suryats with HMGs, 10 bots, tactical awareness. Some may argue that it's a mistake to just sort of funnel all of your SWCs into just HMGs. It's better to have a heavy rocket launcher in there, but that's not what I'm going for. I am going to try and take first turn, roll out there and crush some people with effectively 14 orders from Strategos and the 3 tactical awareness units. If I have to take second turn, well, hopefully, you know, a heavy infantry model and a link team should be enough to stave that off. And even if I do lose a few other peripheral models, they're still going to have a massive turn ahead of them. So, rack to rack in there as usual. 2 Dacheratsi, Zerat, Medtech, Slave Drone, Krakot Renegade. I've gone for the choice of not having a hacker in there, not having any Echadrons or anything else like that. Normally you would run Bit and Kiss, but they've been removed from Morat, so I feel that a list like this is the next best way to build it. You've still got specialists in there, you've got some smoke in there. If you're really suspicious that there's a 1 fire lane you need to avoid, which has a missile launcher in hidden deployment. So I believe that this has the tools to really crush people. Up against the brand new Varuna, my opponent here has built a list very similar to the kind of list that I myself would probably run with Varuna. He's got Patsy Garnett in a link team with a Kamau and the Machinist. His rules question to be at the start of the game was, can Patsy be the Haris member in a Haris team? Or do you need to have another model in that team that has the Haris rule? And his argument was that her actual rule set says, if I just move my camera out of the way, it says Fireteam Haris in her rule set right there, and it then says wildcard, she can join any fire team of the sectorial army. So my belief is that she can be the Haris member that forms a 3-man Haris team. So he's done that, and he's also put in the Machinist who can join any fire team. So it's basically a 3-man squad with Patsy, Kamau, HMG, and Machinist, the Special Division Machinist, of course. He's running the Fusilier Link team with the Orc Trooper and the Kamau, exactly what I would do. I feel that the Kamau in a Link team is a bit too strong at the moment. It's a bit of a power creep. The Orc with the Foyback, really very potent as well. It's low risk, high reward. If your opponent tries to beat you up by shooting at you with an HMG, there's so much that can go wrong for them. Of course, you've got the Traumadoc with the Pelbots there to revive them, really punish your opponent for not wiping them out. Hopefully they're going to go unconscious behind a wall. You revive them, you're straight back to where you were before. The Zulu Cobra Lieutenant, not something I would run, but he's gone for it anyway, and I think it's actually not bad because it keeps your Lieutenant very, very safe. Gone for the Shock Marksman Rifle. I personally would have run Jammers. He didn't know that he was going to be up against Morats, but the Jammers wouldn't have really worked. Oh, by the way, the Lieutenant does have a Jammer, excuse me. The 3 Helots, obviously, they are overpowered, even with the decoy mode. They are just really too effective for their points, so you always take 3 and a Warcore to round things out. So let's get back to this game then. So we're playing Acquisition. This is a scenario where you've got to move the Xenotech up and place a multi-scanner. There are 3 objectives here. What you've got to do is you've got to move to the middle objective with your data tracker and control at the end of the game for a total of 5 points. But you can also get points for pressing the buttons on the side and having specialists or other models base to base with them. And of course there's a classified. Kornak rolls a critical for the Lieutenant roll-off and opts to go first, so we'll take a look at that in a second. Here we go. So, my deployment. Remembering that the deployment of the table edge is actually cut off around about here. We've got a Dacheratsi Witch Soldier on this side. The Link team is through in the middle, but there's Dr. Worm there. Dr. Worm has a Helper Snake right there on the stairway, and then of course you've got HMGs number 1, 2, and 3 here, with Kornak at the bottom level and the rack-to-rack right around the back too. On the right-hand side, we'll see some more units. In fact, this is a bit of a zoom in, a bit of a closer look. So you can see that there is 1, 2, 3 Suryats, and the idea is for them to basically just cut around these walls here, because my opponent's most likely going to be taking the higher ground on the other opposite deployment zones, so they're ready to basically just move in one by one. And the good thing is that, you know, I suspect that I probably would be up against Varuna because the brand new sectorial. I suspect that I would be up against a Kamau MSV2 sniper in a Link team. So with mimetism factored in, it's the Suryat moving around the corner, shooting at the Kamau, and that's what I suspect will happen. And I figured that if I'm rolling 5 dice on 13s against 2 dice on 16s, and the most I can take is 2 wounds if he does a single hit to me. It's worse if he does get 2 hits through. What will often happen is that the Suryat will move to the corner, pull back, go unconscious, and the Docked Worm can go revive him. I can try again. And with the ability to try that again after you've revived your trooper, the chances of beating the Kamau are just that much higher. So that's the game plan. On the right-hand side flank, we've got so that's the Link team over there, as you can see. Datrites, a Witch Soldier here, a forward deploying Krakot right here. Note that Acquisition is a mission that allows you a longer deployment zone of 16 inches. We're going to be putting the reserve model, what do you call this thing? Zerat. In this little corner. She's the only model in the army that can really legitimately move the Xenotech, because I believe you can't move a Xenotech if you have other G-Synced troopers or if you're on a Link team, because G-Sync and G7 are different. My HVT on the side here as well. Okay, so my opponent obviously doesn't have a lot of Varuna models, so he'll be proxying some things. These 3 guys in Matiwa are going to pretend to be Helot militiamen. So you've got 3 decoys there. He's got his Lieutenant Echo Zulu Cobra dude, or whatever it is, hanging out right here behind this building. There's a Doctor right here. Warcore down the bottom. There's another Helot, but in camouflage form at the top there. And the Link team situated on this building over here. And we'll take a closer look at them now. So here's the Link team. So a prone Fusilier here. The Orc trooper with Feuerbach standing up on the side there. There's the Kamau looking out with a big view of the battlefield on that corner. And then you've got 2 more Fusiliers down the back. This one, I believe, is a paramedic. And there's, of course, the Palbot to move up and revive the Feuerbach if needed, or perhaps even go down here and revive the Kamau. So it's going to be a game of attrition for sure. So that's the Link team. That's how it looks. Just beyond the Link team, below them, you can see this is Patsy, represented by that Orc model there. We've got a Kamau HMG and the Engineer. These guys are going to be prone, by the way. And the good thing about the setup is that if he wants to, later on, he can reform the Link by adding one of these 2 members into the Fusilier Link team later on. That works out quite well for him. On the extreme left-hand flank, he's got another set of Kamau decoys represented by these Hakistan models. So these are all Helot decoys. And there's the helper bot over here, Tech B here, and that Tech B is going to be helping out the Xenotech, who's going to be positioned there in a moment. So you can see my Zerat reserve trooper going down, and then his reserve trooper turns out to be the one of the Echo Zulu Cobra dudes. What are they called again? Zulu Cobras. The Echo's the different model, so it's the Zulu Cobras. I'm going to try and get that into my head. So there's the reserve trooper down the bottom there, below the bridge, just behind this group of crates. Okay, so Kornak's the data tracker. I believe Patsy's the data tracker on the other side. I'm going to be trying to get to the middle objective by the end of the game. We've got some the game beginning with some impetuous movement. So this Datrites are moving towards this Helot model. I suspected this was not really a real Helot, so I moved out and look, if he had shot at me, I would have thrown the smoke grenade anyway and tried to dodge it. But I think if he had chosen this one as the real Helot, it would have meant the other ones that would contest Kornak's Link team wouldn't be in position. So there you go. Alright, so the moment of truth. It's the Suryat HMG with tactical awareness going after the Kamau who is positioned right here. So as you can see, we do need to kill him, otherwise you can't really go through here or up on top of the building. So that's just not going to work. So let us now turn to Dice Calculator, and we just want to have a very careful look about exactly how this is going to go down. infiNity Dice Calculator, where are we? I'll just put my head over here in the corner. So, combined army. We're going to take a Suryat, and we're going to say the Suryat is going to fire his heavy machine gun, and he's going to be at the correct range band, and he's going to have cover, and he's going to have a 5-man Link team, and that is it. Then we go over to Pan-Oceania, and we're going to find the Kamau with MSV2, and it's going to be firing its sniper rifle with anti-material mode, and it's going to be at the correct range band, 5-man Link team. It will have cover, and I believe that is it. So roll the dice. There it is. So show the modifiers. NetBS is 13 for active model, and NetBS is 16 with a reactive model. Okay, let's have a look. 43% chance of inflicting 1 wound, which will be enough to kill him. 16% chance of actually getting 2 wounds on him to completely remove him, which would be even better. 25% chance that the Morats have to spend additional orders, which isn't great, but they do have 14 orders for this turn. A 31% chance of the Kamau doing 1 wound on the Suryat, which is acceptable because then we can have another throw at it, but it's not great. And only a 12% chance that he does exactly 2 wounds. But as you can see, only a 2.26% chance that he'll do 3 wounds. So we're not too worried about that 2.26% chance. Well, we are worried about it. It's just not likely. So if he does do 2 wounds, well, the doctor revives him straight away, and we have another go at that 43% chance. So this is about as good a counter as you can possibly get for the Kamau, but one of the reasons why people are saying that this is a little bit too much at the moment is because when you put that amount of firepower into an enemy defensive unit, it should never really have that good a chance at fighting back in the reactive turn, but it is what it is. I mean, this is in the game now, we just have to learn to live with it. Now, I believe what actually happens in the real example here is that the Suryat doesn't actually kill the Kamau with the first attempt, but the second attempt he does wipe him out clean with two wounds through. So it takes a couple of orders, but we do get the Kamau. Alright, so there's another model, I believe, here that can move out at the top. So we're now moving the Suryat at the top of the building to engage with the Orc Feuerback. Now, this starts to get a little bit easier because it is a 4-man link team, not a 5-man link team. So what I may as well do is actually just jump back to the infiNity dice calculator now and change the unit over to an Orc Trooper just to see how this will go. And let's just say he's got a Feuerback. Oh, damn it. Okay, so we don't have the Feuerback option there under the Orc Trooper. Maybe there's something else equivalent in the game that does have a Feuerback. No, look, we'll just pretend that it's got an H&G and we'll closely approximate it. So, no, that's not going to do, is it? Damn. Okay, anyway, let's say he's got a 3-man link team and the range is correct and he's got cover. I mean, the point is, yeah, this is not going to be really representative of it. So, I mean, as you can tell, there's a pretty big chance of the Suryat doing damage here, but this number here should be a lot higher because a Feuerback does inflict a lot of damage. Anyway, the point is that it's still dangerous for the Morats, but it gets a lot easier now that you've removed a member of the link team. This is the way to do it. You should never engage both models at once. You should never go for the Orc Feuerback initially. You've got to get rid of the Kamau because he's actually a little bit easier than taking on the Orc, I believe. And this is exactly what the Suryat does. It takes him a couple of attempts, but he does knock the Feuerback down. Annoyingly, the Orc Trooper keeps passing his guts check, even though it did no damage the first couple of rolls, and after a few orders, he's removed. So there is that. I believe this model here, the Helot, there was a way of me actually getting line of sight to the Orc while this part of the bridge actually blocked line of sight to him. Can't quite remember how I managed to do it, but there was a way of engaging one model at a time. So they're all up on top of the tower, as we say, we're moving up. So, oh shit, I've clicked on the wrong button here. So these guys are all moving up the staircase over to here, and we're also eliminating the War Core, eliminating some of the Helots as we go. And there's a long range, yeah, so this is the Helot on the bridge. So there's a shot through here when we're ready for it. So this is the way to do it. Picking apart the Varuna list, and you've got so many orders to do it with. We've down the Kamau, the Orc Trooper, there's a Helot removed, there's a War Core removed, and you're just slowly dismantling the Varuna army, right? So they're all moving up the team here. You've got to be careful not to have a situation where you're shooting at a Helot and having other Suryats moving so close to you that a template will go down and blow you up. So just got to be aware of that. Suryat in the middle here taking on the Helots at long range in the distance. It is a little bit, a little bit tricky, but when you're a 5-man squad and a heavy infantry model, I mean, it's more like, shooting at needing 10s on 5 dice against like 5s on 2 dice or whatever it is. I can't remember the odds, but it's pretty bad for the Helot once you get up there and you're focusing them down. I put a wound marker next to one of my HMGs. I believe either the Orc or the Kamau did a point of damage at one stage, so they have started to bleed a little bit, but we're continuing to move. So everybody's getting up top here and just spending the necessary number of orders to remove all of the helots that I can see, all of the shots back, and that's going to make this game so much easier. And here we're doing that. Just placing a silhouette token just to see exactly where I'm going to shoot at him from. I believe the helot's located around here, and I'm keeping a bit of a gap between the rest of the Link team, just so that when the template for the light rocket launcher goes down, only one guy's going to get hit back by it. So helot is destroyed in the end. Now, here's a crucial juncture in the game, a crucial point where I feel like I did start to make some real errors. In fact, one specific strategic misjudgment. When you've taken out the Kamau and you've made the Orc Trooper unconscious and you've killed 2 helots and the Warcor's down, what you need to realize, or what I really needed to have realized, is that he's built up an army around defensive units. He hasn't really spent many points on attacking troopers. He hasn't taken a bulleteer. It's unlikely he's got a drop trooper given how many points he's already committed to the table. I still have 2 more turns after this, so the correct strategy here would have been to just retreat back into the top of that building, move up maybe the Zerat, get some points on the board, and improve the position of the Dacharatse, and just hand it back over to him. Because in his turn, he would be spending the Doctor's order to revive the Feuerbach, moving up with some of his troopers, but there's no way he could really have touched my army because there's nothing in his list which can really come over to my side of the board and deal that big damage. The best he's got is maybe one Zulu Cobra with a shock marksman rifle, and that's it. I mean, you're not going to crack a Soviet Link team with just that. So my decision here was to move across the bridge and camp out in the next building over, and trying to get even more kills and cripple him and hopefully kill his Doctor to stop him from reviving the Feuerbach. But I had mistaken the models. I mean, he wasn't really proxying these particular models, so I shouldn't have really made the error, but he had a Doctor and usually a paramedic in different spots, and for some reason I thought the paramedic was the Doctor, so I went after it to try and get the kill. And this is where I really sort of, made some bad mistakes. So what happens is the lead Soviet with HMG eventually gets to the position here. This is where he can shoot at the engineer in the distance, get a kill out of him, and there is a Zulu Cobra here with shock marksman rifle, which I can also kill. And this is where things started to really go wrong. So I'm putting 1 shot into the engineer and 4 shots at medium range, that is, against the Cobra. And the engineer manages to dodge to safety. And this Zulu Cobra here shoots back at me and gets a critical hit onto the Suryat and wounds him, which was really frustrating. But I can't complain too much because he could easily have got a crit on me with the Orc Feuerbach or the Kamau and really made the start of this turn really difficult. So I don't mind having some bad luck at this point. Having better luck earlier in the turn was a bigger deal. I'm also moving this HMG down to the side here. This is going to be able to take on maybe the Helot. I think this is a decoy Helot, but there is another Zulu Cobra Lieutenant here, which I didn't realize it's a Lieutenant, but whatever. So the plan is to move here and shoot at what I think is actually his Doctor unit over the other side. That doesn't eventuate though, because the Soviet here, who really does need to destroy the shock marksman rifle Zulu Cobra and the engineer, fails yet again and is actually killed by the shot back due to some severely bad luck. So this means that the Link team is down to 4 members. I can reform it with the command token. I made another really bad judgment of having Kornak and the other Soviet just hanging out here next to the wall to provide AROs in his turn. But this, and at the last moment I did realize that I couldn't kill his Doctor, so this model's just hanging out here. So this is just a really bad situation for the Soviets to be in. I was saying earlier that tactical awareness is a really powerful and maybe overpowered rule, and I still mean that, like, wholeheartedly. Like, this just proves how good tactical awareness is. But it doesn't matter how good the rules are or how powerful your army list. If you make really stupid blunders like I have in this game, I mean, the rules aren't going to be enough to, mitigate or counteract your bad plays. So this is just bad play for me, a little bit of bad luck at the end, but I'm now in a position where I can just get attacked quite easily by that shock marksman rifle, which is terrible. So he moves in and revives his Feuerbach Orc, no worries there. And then he's got his shotgun marksman rifle, which started out behind the cover here, moves around here with a single shot skill, can't make it, so spends another order to pop out around the corner and fire a few shots up to Kornak. Now Kornak gets hit by another crit immediately and removed. He's not immune to shock. And then, of course, this Soviet here who's already been wounded, the Cobra moves around and kills him as well. So Cobra doing really well. I've lost basically 3 members of my Link team now, and it looks to be pretty much game over. Moving in with his lieutenant and his assault pistol, starting to murder the other Soviet. So this Soviet goes down pretty quickly. And you guys can see what I mean now. When I said that what I should have done is I should have just moved the whole Link team back onto the home base building and just stayed there, because then I would have had another turn with 14 orders, and without so many, you know, annoying AROs, I could have easily just walked across to his side of the table in turn 2 and just killed everything, right? And then I would still have had enough orders to move guys onto the objectives and put them into Lost Lieutenant retreat, whatever it was, but that's not what happened. So the Cobra moves up, kills the Suryat, goes after the Rack-to-Rack. Hilariously, the Rack-to-Rack does actually win the face-to-face roll and kills the Cobra, which will put him into Lost Lieutenant as well. My Lost Lieutenant won't be so bad because I'm playing Morats, and they are mostly immune to the Lost Lieutenant situation. My opponent kind of said that maybe he'd put me back into the game here, but you know, I'm still feeling like there's not too much I can do against Patsy's Link team after this. So everybody just hanging out, repositioning their troops, and there's not too much else that goes on during this turn. Morat turn 2, lost Lieutenant, but only the Doctor is affected by that. Everybody else is a Morat. So moving forward, throwing some smoke wherever I need to with Impetuous. This, the twin SMG Krakot moving out, trying to get into a position here where he can actually shoot at the Tech B. That will help me out points-wise because the Tech B is holding the Xenotech, so that'll prevent him from doing anything with it. So Morat moving through here, firing his SMGs at the Tech B, and I think eventually killing him. So the Zerat then moving to the middle of the table, trying to avoid the Link teams, placing the multi-scanner, and then going after the objective later on. So she's setting up position there. That puts it back over to the Pan-Oceania turn, but Pan-Oceania and Varuna here are in Lost Lieutenant, so there's not a lot they'll be doing with this turn. Just moving up, getting into better positions. He knows that I've lost any long-range guns, so he's just coming through here, trying to get line of sight to people. You can see a Datcharatse throwing an offensive smoke, if I move that cam. Kamau HMG moving out to the middle. There's nothing that can really contest him. So yeah, they're just cracking the Link team, of course, at this point, and just setting up some really good ARO spots. You can see Patsy there. So this is the last turn for Morats. The submachine gun guy impetuously moving out, just trying to shoot at Patsy because there's an extremely low chance of me getting 2 wounds on her. But if I do get 2 wounds on her, that may mean that she can't move over and control the central objective, and I might be able to win by having, you know, multi-scanner placed. His multi-scanner isn't placed. I would have had my Zerat in control of one of the side consoles, so that's a very, very small chance of winning, but the Krakot doesn't manage it. Patsy does kill him, and that's game over for the Krakot. We've got a Datcharatse again, trying to work out where to throw smoke. Zerat setting up a position on top of the console. Sorry if I'm going through the rest of the bat rep really fast, guys, but it really is basically over. We've even got the Rack-to-Rack at one point able to go after the Palbot. The Rack-to-Rack attempts to fire his Vulcan shotgun at this Palbot, which will spray a whole bunch of molten lead or whatever it is over the Orc Trooper. But he rolls a double 3, and the Feuerbach does win the face-to-face roll back at him, and it does kill him. So that was an attempt, but not good enough. After that, there's a Doctor out in the middle of the table, just desperately trying to provide us some AROage, but it's not going to be enough to stop Patsy and the Kamau HMG. So they move in. He puts a paramedic and base-to-base contact with one of the consoles as well. And that's game over, a 5-2 win for Varuna. I must say, though, that I think, I'm quite convinced that that Morat list was a really good counter to this particular Varuna list. I felt like I definitely had the stronger list. And the tactical awareness rule would have made it such that it would have been a really good beatdown unless he could roll some crits or win some face-to-face rolls with the Feuerbach or the MSV2 sniper. I just played it really badly. If we come back to this original photo, so I spent the first half of my 14 orders on this building here, killing a Kamau, killing a Feuerbach, killing some Helots over here, killing a Helot over here. So that's all I really needed to do. If I just stay on this building, what's he going to do then? He's got like 7 orders left or something like that. He's got 1 Zulu Cobra, which can move over here and try and attack the Link team. But what's he going to do against a bunch of Suryats there? It's going to take him all the orders to do that. And then let's say they're reduced to 4 guys or something like that. They just retaliate, kill him, and then it's just a simple matter of maybe moving around this side and just wiping everybody out because he's got no arrows at that point. The Feuerbach could stand back up again, but the same fate's going to meet him. The Suryat shoot him from long range. If he wins the face-to-face roll, he'll probably render a Suryat unconscious, and the Suryat could be revived. So in terms of game plan, strategy, the lists, I feel like Morats have the upper hand in this one, partly because of tactical awareness, partly because they do well against this kind of list. I just played it badly. So one thing you guys are probably going to be seeing from me in the future in bat reps on this channel is more tactical awareness Suryats being used, and possibly the same thing from Invincible Army as well, because they can do a similar sort of thing. The only thing about Invincible Army is they're not immune to jammers, so that's one thing that Kornak has going over them. But they do have a few other perks as well, which we may talk about in a future bat rep. For now, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you again soon.